This is Bob Sansevere with TwinCities.com web sports producer Kevin Sakic Cusick. Kevin thinks they're related somehow.
Almost.
Well, you have his
names are close.
Yeah, you got his sweater/jersey on, and you were wearing it. Why?
And to show sympathy for the Colorado fans, I watched instead of watching the Fox North folks last night, I watched the Avalanche post game on Altitude TV, and it was very mournful and sad. It reminded me of when Old Yeller had to be put down. There was some tears. There was just I think there was some funereal music on there, and I've got some cousins in the Denver suburban area, so as a show of empathy for them, I broke out the Joe Sakic Classic jersey.
Well, I mean, you did watch Fox Sports North though earlier, right? They're calling Anthony LaPanta. I mean, in the neighborhood we call him Tony Pants, but he did one heck of a job. He's done a nice job. That whole crew there has done a nice job.
Yeah, and Greenlay.
And Greenlay both.
Greenlay, people forget Greenlay has been here the entire time.
Yeah.
Since it's going back.
No, they do a good job together.
He was doing it with Goldberg, and with Matt McConnell, and with
he's a survivor.
And Dan Terhart. Did I name them all?
How about this for a trip? He's a survivor, much like the Wild. They survived the 7-game series, became the first team ever to win a 7-game series from behind on 4 goals, playing from behind on 4, having to catch up with being, with 4 goals in regulation. I'm not doing a good job explaining this, but going into the
stat
overtime.
I heard today was in the previous 16 Game 7s, the team scoring first won all 16, and the Wild ended that streak last night.
Well, technically, though, the Wild were the first team to legitimately score a goal.
That's true.
So that's an asterisk on that.
Once they got Colorado to stop tackling the goalie, things went much better for Minnesota.
Although the goalie is a little banged up. And by the way, I think, we've talked about this, I believe, the whole upper-lower body thing.
Yeah. Well, this
may have an upper and a lower.
Well, it might be, but this way, if they only say one or the other, then we'll know knee or concussion.
Yeah.
Either way, it's not good news for the Wilds if either one of them is going to be debilitating for more than a couple of days.
And I would say it's more likely the lower or the knee, because the way he came down on that knee when he was shoved.
Yeah, if we had a video here and can diagram it for you, Dr. Sansevere and I would diagnose at least some sort of sprain of the knee.
Of course, he could be concussed also. Remains to be seen. But the point is, they don't want to go into this series with Chicago with Ilya Brizgalov as their goaltender.
Yeah, they were very fortunate last night. They brought him in, and I believe he only faced one shot on goal.
Yep, one shot.
Which is perfect for him. He's had his moments this year, but going up against defending Stanley Cup champs who have the home advantage, I don't think they can win if they have to depend on Brizgalov for the whole thing. They need Kemper at least by the time they get back here for Game 3.
Isn't it interesting, though, that 2 series now, last year and this year, and it's not the first round, but at almost the last minute. There was last minute last year in warm-ups. They lost their goaltender, their starting goalie.
That's right. You forget old Nick Backstrom.
Nick Backstrom, but now, to lose a guy who has played very well for them since he took over for Ilya in the series, old Briz, that's one where they don't want to lose him much. And I do agree a little bit. If they don't get him back by Game 3, you might as well write him off, because I don't think there's a big expectation of them. The best anyone would hope is that they split, but likely going to losing 2, coming back, and then having that scenario of against Avalanche, win 2, and then they go back and forth.
If they manage to split in Chicago, then they're just doing great. By the way, do you think the Lifetime channel could do like a mini-series just based on the Wild's goaltending adventures this year? With, Josh Harding, the illness, and Backstrom falling apart. It has really been at least a 4-parter.
Well, my favorite one is the guy that they added when they were on the coast. They had him come in for the day, and he got, a couple $100 on the jersey.
Yep.
That's what they sent him off with.
A nicer jersey than this.
Oh, I don't think anything's nicer than that one. Well, how do you see this? Any chance against Chicago?
Sure. This is not the same Chicago team won the Stanley Cup last year. I looked it up. Chicago last year won 75% of their games during the shortened regular season. I think their winning percentage this year was 56%. So they were off the charts last year. They played very well after the first 2 games. They lost 2 overtime games. I think it was to St. Louis. And then it was like 14-6. They outscored the Blues the rest of the way. The turning point being the infamous now wakey game when they knocked out Backus of the Blues, and he was like dazed, and the Blackhawks allegedly started taunting him about his frail mental or physical condition at that point. So they've got a shot. Again, the goaltending, they have to have a healthy Kemper. But let's assume that Kemper will be able to play at least some in the series.
It's a strong assumption.
I think you got to favor the Blackhawks in 6 or 7, but we thought that the Avalanche were going to win in 6 or 7 last week, and that proved to be incorrect. They've got a shot. They played, as you said this morning in your blog, resilient and gritty.
They did have that. And they have talent, too.
That will carry you now that you're playing May hockey.
Well, the one thing, though, is the Kemper. Whether it looked bad when the way he came down on his knee.
But he also hit Suter as he was going down.
Yes,
So
and Suter blowing by. But it could be a sore neck. It could be a bad knee. Whatever it is, if he's not 100%, and he won't be, nobody is this time of the year, that obviously is detrimental to them.
Sure.
Because, frankly, it was detrimental. He tried playing again. He gave up 2 goals. Maybe those goals aren't given up had he been fully healthy.
And that's why the MVP of last night's game may have been Ryan Suter for talking to Kemper and realizing that he had to be taken out of the game and getting Brizgalov in. That was a real leaderly, captain-like maneuver that you kind of see if you're paying someone $100 million. You want to see that level of leadership, and Suter showed it. And they probably would not have won that game if they kept trying to get by
I
with
think
Kemper.
part of the problem was that Kemper was pointing with his stick into the crowd saying, is that John Elway and Peyton Manning? Well, the fact that they knew who they would be.
I didn't catch that.
You didn't? You got to pay close attention. Yeah. Anyway, we'll be paying close attention to this series with the Chicago Blackhawks. Kevin Cusick, I'm Bob Sansevere. That's CJ Sinner. Give him a wave again. We want to come back around. No?
CJ, who accosted me earlier by saying, "What are you wearing?" So
there she is. We're part of her. We'll be talking again real soon.
God bless Colorado.